Hello and welcome to Daily Records. I am Tommy Burton and it's baseball playoff time. I'm supporting my Atlanta Braves. So for the next few days, I'm going to be sporting my trusty Hank Aaron Atlanta Braves A hat. Go Braves, chop on. Anyway, today's Daily Record. The Kinks, Muswell Hillbillies. This is the album they released on November 24th, 1971, recorded in the late summer of that year. And it was the band's very first album for RCA Records, RCA Victor, as you can see back there. It's named after the Muswell Hill area of North London. Some of my English viewers can talk about that if they're familiar. That's where Ray Davies and Dave Davies grew up, and the band was formed in the 60s. So there's a little bit of history there. And it basically, like a lot of Kinks music, it introduces sort of a working class figures, characters, populate a lot of the songs. And it talks about kind of the stuff that they have to contend with. It was not a very good seller, but it was critically acclaimed, which I think was the story of a lot of Kinks releases. Like I said, this was the first album they released for RCA Records. Before that, they were with Pi Records, Reprise, here in the United States. And it expired in 1971. And when that contract expired, they went to Morgan Studios in London, used a brass section, the Mike Cotton sound. They had Mike Cotton on trumpet, John Beecham on trombone, Alan Holmes on clarinet. Went into the studios there at Morgan and recorded this album between August and October of 1971. Now, when the album was released, it did not chart at all in the UK. It did hit the top 50 in the US, so this was a rare thing for the Kinks, where they had a lot of British success in the United Kingdom and not so much in the US. By this point, there was a little bit of a shift, and so they were starting to have a little more success in the US and had done well. But really, the previous album, Lola, was what generated a lot of that excitement, because that was such a big hit. It was a hit record, and this one was a little more disappointing after that. In the 1984 Rolling Stone album guide, they did give the album 5 stars out of 5, and they even called it Ray Davies' signature statement as a songwriter, which is interesting. But it's a very wide-ranging album of subject matter. Like I said earlier, a lot of working class characters populate the songs, and Ray Davies really had a knack for writing about English life, and so that's probably why the Kinks, to me, were a quintessential British band, and so I think they related very well to British audiences, just because of the subject matter, because of what Ray Davies talked about, and so I think that's one of the reasons they had so much success over there. Now, this cover that I showed you, the gatefold here, was taken in the Archway Tavern. It was a pub in Archway, about 2 miles away from Muswell Hill. And then, of course, there is the signpost that's right there on the inside of the album, talking about the location, Muswell Hill. And that was taken in Highgate. But the songs on the album, 20th Century Man, which a lot of Kinks fans know, a bit of a hit. Acute Schizophrenia, Paranoia Blues, Ray Davies. Holiday, Skin and Bone. Alcohol, Complicated Life. Here Come the People in Gray, Have a Cup of Tea. Holloway Jail, Oklahoma, USA. Uncle Son, and finally the title track, Muswell Hillbilly. So it's a solid album, varied, fantastic songwriting, a lot of good melodic stuff from Ray Davies, one of the best writers around. You can't go wrong with anything that Ray Davies has done. Just about always interesting and entertaining. Even some of the worst Kinks albums really aren't bad compared to a lot of other people's what you would call worst. But Muswell Hillbillies, today's Daily Record. Comment down below, like, share, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75. I love interacting with you guys. There's been a few that's reached out to me recently that has been really, really cool on some previous Daily Records and some relatives of musicians that we've talked about. So that's really, really cool. I love that. And so it's cool. So hit that subscribe button. Keep up with what's going on here. And in the meantime, I'll see you all again tomorrow with another Daily Record.